Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon access support and any kind of updates and such. I usually go about on Twitter X. Yesterday, I didn't manage to do any kind of videos or even put the gameplay series episode from Firewatch. I did had a very busy day. Again, it's in UAE. It's the and basically in all Muslim countries is the eve of Ramadan. So it gets pretty hectic. It's like Christmas kind of movement of peoples and stuff to do, and it's pretty hectic there. And yeah, basically I had a full day going around. Have to do errands, meet with clients for Ramadan stuff that will be upcoming with them. And yeah, that's basically why I didn't do anything yesterday. And I wanted to do something for today. The Firewatch, I will resume the publishing of episodes on Monday. And then I think we only have two more left, which is going to be Monday and Wednesday. And then the next week, I will introduce the new series, Planet of Land, if not mistaken. But yeah, other than that, everything is as usual. I will like eventually one of these days resume my streaming sessions, which is being delayed since Elden Ring. Since I played Elden Ring, especially after the Shadow of the Tree DLC, after I wrap up that game, I think I did manage to try and get around do some Death Stranding, but it's been a little bit tricky with scheduling. By the fact that again I am a freelancer, so finding a fixed schedule for anything it's a little bit tricky, especially for live streams. But yeah, I will do my best. Again, we'll see how it goes. But so far, I can manage to do the gaming news without any issues, except for one of these days. I miss one day per week eventually, some more busy day. But other than that, I will keep my chugging along. Yeah, let's go to the news. Yeah, we got the event yesterday. I did manage late night to watch the stream from AMD itself, and then I watched some coverage from that stream. Again, basically, we got a lot of the information that we had leaked. It was pretty accurate without any kind of, let's say, huge errors here and there. Interestingly enough, while I was watching AMD live stream, there was seems to be some edits going on their initial presentation, mainly because there was some audio, I don't know, quality issues in the sense that they were like it was the same person talking, but they showed the graphics, they pulled the graphics on, and the audio got a little bit different in the sense that it was another recording that I will assume was post edit. And if not mistaken, most of those edits, or at least seemingly edits of that audio, seem to be referencing a lot of on the pricing and some kind of performance comparisons, which lends me to believe that again they had completely different plan on CES. And after that, NVIDIA CES, with especially with the 5070 Ti in terms of pricing that were supposedly not expected, they had to change course, and they took also advantage of that time since CES until now to try and supposedly, I assume, tweaking around on the software side of things to see if they can squeeze a little bit more performance out of these new RDNA GPUs. But overall, was not a bad, at least again, with official information that we had from first party, which is we have it always take it with a grain of salt. It's going to be always picked as the best light possible. But again, in terms of specs, it's what we've been seeing here. I'm not going to dwell too much here because I spoke about this kind of leaked specs and everything. The only mention I do here is the total board power. I thought it was more, but I was mistaken. The XT variant, again, there is no reference card, which is very odd. But I did like the rendering of a possible reference card from AMD. I really do like the also from the previous generation. But yeah, I thought for a moment on the showcase that they will eventually launch their reference cards, but no, there are no reference cards. Everything is to the AIBs, but as a reference spec. It's going to use only 304 watts of total board power, but I think again with the different models, I think they can squeeze out to, if not mistaken, 330-ish watts or something like that to squeeze out even more performance out of it. So they can achieve over 3 gigahertz of boost clocks, which is going to be interesting to see how the price is going to be reflected of that extra squeeze in terms of performance. But yeah, other than that, very to the numbers of the info that we got from leaks since CES that we've been covering here. Again, supposedly we got an average. I'm just going to cover more the 9070 XT. Supposedly, comparatively with previous generations, we got here again, it's a little bit smaller, but it's a 6900 XT, 51% in terms of uplift in performance from raster, and comparatively also with the 4090. 26% in terms of raster. Again, usually all the numbers they're being showing here is OLED native, which is interesting, and I think it doesn't induce the prospect customer. And like Nvidia does its charts, was trying to, with previous generation, the 40 series with 50 series, got that 4 times the performance, but the numbers was always with the MFG, so the multiple fake frame rate stuff there. And here are using the numbers in native resolutions, which is a better indicator of how the GPU might perform comparatively of the other GPUs that they put here on the graphs here, which is we have to give credit to AMD for that. So they don't do any kind of shenanigans with AMFM, which is the fake frames from AMD. But yeah, the overall picture seems to be okay. Nothing out of the other world, but just take it as a precaution that the average uplift in performance that they do, they take an account raster performance and ray tracing performance. Again, given the architecture change that they did for RDNA4, you will see more uplift in performance in ray tracing comparatively, especially with the previous generations of RDNA, and they focus very much on the previous generation with the 7900 GRE. I covered that, the fact that the leaked info charts that we got is mainly for them to try and tailor the price point or the price range for these new GPUs to be around kind of the same as the 7900 GRE, and we got confirmation of that in terms of the launch prices, which are going to be $600 for the XT variant. And again, I think the big mistake that they did here was for the non-XT variants. They just cut $50 out of that. I think they should have put at least $500 to be more comparatively to in terms of uplifting generation as to the 7800 XT, because 7800 XT, if not mistaken, was launched at $500, and it was a pretty good GPU for that price range and what it can squeeze out of it. But also the 7900 GRE was, again, when it was launched, it was also a pretty good GPU. But I think they made kind of, at least so far from the official numbers and the specs and what they claim as uplift in term performance, I think they did a mistake here of doing the same thing with the 7900 XTX and XT, which is basically put the non-XT variant, again, the 9070 non-XT, to be an upsell for the 9070 XT. However, the price is not bad, $600 for the XT variant. I think it's going to be the most looked for, mainly because of the price range here of around $600, and also with the again, how you can compare it with the 5070 Ti, which they did compare it on their own by the end of their presentation. Again, in terms of MSRP, I understand you're going to see a lot of people talking about it's not a big added value. Again, add is in the short term. I think they're going to do a lot of business regarding the 5070 Ti, which is trying to compete here, the XT variant, because there is no 5070 Ti's at MSRP of $750. They are being selling on average between $800 to $900, depending on the models and the such. At least that's the perception that I got. And if you compare it at this moment in time, again, when these cards launch on March 6th, if you have kind of the same performance, which kind of goes around, at least from their first party information. The 9070 XT performs around kind of the same, at least in the raster, with the 5070 Ti, and I think it drops, I don't know, 15 to 20% in ray tracing performance. Again, don't quote me on that. Again, my memory is a little bit fuzzy on comparing those numbers there with the 5070 Ti, but with around 25% price cut, at least at MSRP. But given that we have at this moment in time, and if NVIDIA doesn't do anything regarding stocks of the 5070 Ti, we will see a gap of $400, which is almost the double if you take it from around 600, and if the XTs stay around that. When you think about broad picture stuff, $600 to $900 is a lot of money. It's $400. You can buy a CPU that performs very well for that, or even you can buy a lot of stuff with $400. If you take that comparison, and also the fact that we had all the issues with NVIDIA that been marked since the launch of the 5090 power connectors, especially on the 5090s. And then we got the black screen issues in all the 5000 series from NVIDIA, plus all the missing ROPs in supposedly 0.5% of a batch of GPUs that came out. The lack of quality of support and the lack of support, sorry, of the CUDA 32 bits framework, which at this moment, what most noticeable was the fact that the physics doesn't work in older games that use still the 32-bit CUDA system framework. We got all of that. Plus some, I think I saw some videos that especially the 5070 Ti had a lot of issues depending on your hardware configuration, on not working properly, not putting up games pretty well, black screens all over the place. Sometimes people have the Windows that doesn't even start up with the 5070 Ti. A lot of issues are marked by the 5070 Ti, especially on the more competitive side of things. And I think overall it might be a good option if you're aiming for a GPU in this kind of price point. Some people are comparing it to, in terms of value, to the 7900 XT. In a sense, a year after launch, it was one of the hotcakes in terms of selling when it was around $700. So I think $100 cheaper, kind of a thing here, aiming for that kind of the same performance of a 7900 XT. I think this might be a good option. Hopefully, there is going to be plenty of stock if people choose to buy this GPU. But again, as always, wait for the independent reviews, see the analysis in terms of price to performance and the value, if there is any, from the GPU that you currently have, and if you wanted to buy something there. And it seems that this GPU is pretty good. But again, it's all a matter of if the price, at least they have enough stock of GPUs that are at this MSRP. Hopefully so. Then we got the super duper editions and versions of the GPUs that again, I will assume go around $800 or so. We saw some price listings for that. Hopefully if that price difference compensate in terms of performance, we'll have to wait and see. But then again, before making any kind of decisions of buying or not buying, wait for the independent reviews. check the price on your region. I don't know how much this kind of tariff battles happening between United States and a lot of markets is going to affect the price of these GPUs, but hopefully it will be maintained at least around MSRP. Again, if NVIDIA doesn't do anything to correct at least at this moment in terms of the competition with this 5070 Ti, which is at this moment the only GPU that has competition from AMD at this moment in time, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But yeah, continuing with this, I'm just going to go here with the software part of things, which is FSR4. It was announced. Again, it seems to be in line in terms of quality improvements that they did. Again, given the architecture and the fact that FSR4 now is going to be using AI basically, as does for some time now the DLSS from NVIDIA. We saw some improvements. From CS, we got that Ratchet and Clank demo that was playing, and Hardware Unbox, and I think even people from Digital Foundry did manage to check that comparison between how things were running there. But the FSR4 at this moment in time is going to be only for RDNA4 because it leverages the AI capabilities of this new generation of GPUs. Probably they mentioned that probably they will manage to kind of port FSR4 to older GPUs, 7000 series and maybe 6000 series. But yeah, at this moment in time, given that again, it's a matter of using the AI processing capabilities of these new GPUs. I think they will take advantage of that. What I wanted to say here also, again, this comes after the in terms of games launch, because this FSR4 model uses as a framework the FSR 3.1 API. It can be basically injected or replaced if the games already have FSR 3.1. They managed to introduce quite a few games, again, more than usual on launch for a lot of games. But yeah, and this framework seems to be the baseline of introducing even further versions of FSR, especially on the upscaling side of things. Which is very interesting. Hopefully, they can at least backport or find a way of, I don't know, find a way of getting a cheaper version, let's say, of SFR4, at least on previous generations, to see if we can see an upgraded quality in terms of the upscaling. Given that it seems to be almost indistinguishable from native 4K. We got a few examples here, especially on the screenshot. We got, for example, the spikes here. Again, with FSR4, they are pretty much on par with native 4K, and I will assume in some specific cases you might see a little bit up close in terms of details because of how the algorithm should work. Because in performance mode, especially FSR 3.1 loses a lot of detail and increases more fuzziness and blurriness to the images. But yeah, it seems that we seeing a lot of good uplifts in terms, at least in quality, on especially on the performance mode, which is going to be, I assume, the most used if people manage to do so. Especially with this 9070 XT, if you can just put 4K upscale in performance mode and can maintain basically the same kind of almost indistinguishable image quality from a native 4K perspective with added frame rates, because it's again rendering in lower resolution, so supposedly it can render faster and kind of the same quality. I think we might see a good adoption of these GPUs here, hopefully, because we need to a certain extent. I wish AMD sells well, because to put a little bit more pressure on NVIDIA to see if they can again. At the end of the day, the more competition, the better it is for consumers like us. But yeah, got a lot of games here supported. I'm not going over this that much. We got already supposedly also some studios that are working on with AMD for the FSR4 implementation thing there. I think everything that again is all the games that already have free FSR 3.1. They can be automatically done in the driver level. They can utilize FSR4 on these RDNA4 GPUs. Supposedly, again, claims of uplift in terms of performance, again, especially in the performance mode, I assume, will increase almost to at least double the frame rates. Again, it is first party information. I try not to cover too much, but at least it seems to be a good indication that they did manage to up their game, especially on the upscaling technology, given that they don't have like higher end GPUs launched on this generation. But yeah, and also in terms of hardware and software, got the media encoders. They seem to be improved also, especially AV1, X265 and 264, in terms of how they are leveraging the media encoders there, which is good for streamers. And I think again, this RDNA free, it's decent, the media encoders, but it could be a little bit better. And I think they also improved in that sense, even though it's not being very highlighted there. They only mentioned X264 on around streaming at 6K or 6 megabytes or something like that. They managed to improve image quality for around 20% or something like that. Again, they didn't throw around too much information regarding that. They just mentioned there. But yeah, regarding this, I will wrap up here. Just a good watch. Again, Steve from Gamers Nexus did a good sum up of the situation there, and also compare it to the Nvidia debacle that we've been happening here. Again, take it with a grain of salt. First party information. Again, wait for independent reviews. And then again, everything that I talk about, I will leave the links in the description. But yeah, basically this is it from the what I got to say. It seems good, but we'll have to wait again. It seems promising, but we need those reviews to have a better purchase information before you do any kind of decisions. Then we got. I want to touch here a little bit more on Monster Hunter Wilds. At this moment, I'm not going to again. I'm not going to buy the game. First reason is I have my plate full, especially on games that I want to play still. And also, the second factor is the fact that we still have a lot of PC performance issues. And the latest one was regarding a Digital Foundry analysis that they did specifically for the PC port. And strangely enough, we've been seeing a lot of low quality images in some instances, and depending on the setup and the settings there. But it seems that there's some issue with this, how they say it, texture streaming, how the engine is dealing with that. Uh, it seems that it how it handles data streaming data to the GPU, and it seems that it is maybe decompressing textures on a necessarily aggressive manner, which to a certain extent it will affect always performance, and the fact that it's doing, I don't know, extra work without the need to. It is starting to do a little bit struggle on the hardware, and it seems that again they did, I think, improved a smidge in terms of how they were handling performance, especially comparatively with open beta things. Hopefully they can resolve this issue, because the game seems, at least the art style is pretty good. If you can manage to play at maximum 4K, again with the camera panning out very slowly, or a still camera, it seems pretty good. But again, it comes around with the frame times. It's stutter fast, at least it seems, and drop in terms of performance if you try to pan too fast and all that jazz. And again, the fact that it struggles even with around the 4080, which is kind of the same level of my 7900 XTX, 4K kind of max settings. But again, max settings a little bit in some cases overestimated. Um, I think with some tweaks, I did it with the benchmark, but again, the benchmark doesn't handle certain scenarios that we are going to encounter that much. But the fact that to a certain extent you can struggle with a 4080, 4K 60 to reach around a good level of performance, it does indicate that again, I think it's a conjunction of fact that the again similarly this decompression textures issue, which going to affect performance and the fact that the game engine itself. Again, I think when it was designed from the ground up, they were thinking about more about Resident Evil games, and again, I still think that they are trying to work around adapting the game engine properly for open world games. Hopefully, they can address this situation here. I don't know if it's going to be needed like a major overhaul or a major update on the game engine itself. But yeah, I think they from Monster Hunter studio here, I think they really need to address a little bit more the situation in terms of the performance stuff there. It's preferable if you have to, I don't know, decrease certain things or at least address this thing with the texture stuff there, so you can address a little bit more the performance issues there. But regarding that, again, at this moment, I think it's playable if you use upscaling and if you tweak around certain more impactful settings. I think it has a decent quality and can be playable enough at a decent frame rate. And if you're willing to take a chance on that, I really do recommend Rurikan as a content creator in terms of guides and how to go about things in Monster Hunter. Again, he played I think all the Monster Hunters there, and he's very knowledgeable on how to play and how to do some tutorials and some explainers here regarding the Monster Hunter stuff. I've been following him. I've been watching his videos. He's got several videos now with changing some settings to help you out on the gameplay scenario things, and also how to proceed in terms of what to aim for on the beginning of the game if you are a new player, especially. I think he does an excellent job. Again, I like to highlight him mainly because he's a fellow Portuguese content creator. But other than that, it is mainly because of his knowledgeable, how much knowledgeable he is on Monster Hunter franchise there. There is also some guides here if you want to try it out on Faxter Life. They are usually pretty good on those guides, and very on the site they have like all the specs and all the stuff there. They put pretty good information there also. But I refer to you first to Rurikan. Then to wrap up the gaming news stuff there, Hogwarts Legacy had another patch yesterday, no, 2 days ago, which is focusing on improving mod support, which is always good news, and a lot of fixes of input prompt text, interface fixes, and all that jazz. The patch also supposedly fixes for fast travel, third times the charm not being unlocked, silent restart falling with mods, and basic attacks leaving blank impacts on and other stuff. Again, I never played the game so far, so it seems that they are continue to patch up the game. The main introduction here and the main news is the introduction of Intel XeSS2, which brings up the frame generation from their own part, which is always good to see. But yeah, and also they supposedly are reportedly getting an expanded definitive edition for the game, which will have more content there. So it's also one of the reasons that I didn't even take a chance on this game, because I'm waiting to see if there is DLC or not. And supposedly the good news is they are also working on the second, so the sequel of Hogwarts Legacy. And so far, the news that we have is that they are not going to put it as a game as a service or any kind of huge multiplayer aspect on that game. Because again, we've been covering here from Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Gotham Knights, and Multiverses. I think it's also from them. Again, it's been a shit show, and all multiplayer games that they're being launching. And if they wanted to do something with this one, for sure it will fail because people are a little bit tired of games as a service. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be another good experience as the first one, at least from the reviews that I saw so far. And then lastly, we got I think are coming some tidbits here and there of some trailers, some behind the scenes on some games that are upcoming and others that already come up. And this one was Blades of Fire, I think from IGN for Next Fest or whatever they are calling there. And it's coming from 505 Games as a publisher, and the studio working on this game is MercurySteam. Again, very interesting stuff here. It seems that the lore seems a little bit kind of premise seems like the Conan the Barbarian, which basically has to do with steel. And basically, at this moment, the setup is you are the only person in the world that you can mold steel, or you're basically the only person that can smith steel, so bend it at your will to a certain degree. While supposedly the enemy, which has a super bad queen, transforms everything metal into stone, and you're basically the only person that can wield stone. Basically, the premise is the combat seems pretty interesting, more action oriented. The boss's design seems interesting enough. The tone seems pretty good, and it seems that you can do everything from on the weapon side of things. So you can manufacture your own weapon, tweak it around with runes and a lot of stuff, and then use it to combat and defeat enemies. Very interesting. It will come out May 22, $60. Hopefully the game is good. I will try to keep my eyes on this one because again, it seems a little bit different what we are used to see, and maybe the game has a good setup and premise here. Again, it's like a Conan the Barbarian kind of a thing. At least that the vibes that give to me. But yeah, I always like to point out stuff that it's coming out here. Um, but yeah, other than that, I'm going to wrap up here some gaming deals. We got Black Mesa Definitive Edition, 75% off. Again, it's a no-brainer as a game. We got also Plague Tale Requiem and, if not mistaken, Innocence. I already bought Innocence in the last bundle that they had. Not bundle, sorry, the last deal that they had. I wanted to still try out that game first and then see if it is worth buying Plague Tale Requiem. But yeah, they are on sale, both of them, as a bundle or as each game by their own. We got Steel Journey, 67% off. We got Aliens Dark Descent, this is a new entry for this wave here of new deals, 55% off. We got Dredge, again, it's on sale 50% off, which is seems be pretty good, and I'm willing to try out this game one of these days. Then we got Liza P, 40% off. Again, the DLC will come out this year, if not mistaken, during the summer, hopefully. So again, if you want to try out now, you can have it at for 40% off. Then you got Pacific Drive is on sale again, 40% off for the deluxe edition. We got Stray, 40% off. Then we got from also Annapurna Cocoon, 40% off. Then we got Indiana Jones is a Great Circle. Again, a couple of months after being launched, on sale, 20% off. Again, the game seemed pretty good so far from the reviews that I saw. The fears of being a little bit not in line with the spirit of the original trilogy doesn't seem to be happening here. But yeah, it seems to be a pretty good game, and it's 20% off at this moment in time. Then we got Dome Keeper again. I will always like to highlight games that I have in my library that are pretty good, and when they are on sale, again, 50% off on Dome Keeper. I really do recommend this game, and it's got a demo if you want to try it out for yourself. And then last we got Planet of Lana, 50% off. I do recommend this game. It will be the next gameplay series. Already recorded everything. Again, very interesting game. It's not a very long game. but that's why I can recommend fully at 50% off. The game is good quality, good puzzles. The story is told by the environments as usual in this kind of games, and I really did enjoy playing this game here. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here for today with a plug on my Patreon for access support. That access support is more in line for me to be able to get around and get a better storage solution so I can have backups of stuff that I do for my clients. And of course, some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunami Master out.